All right, I'd like to start the meeting. If everyone could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Ayes have it. Any subtractions from the consent agenda?
Well, I thought you'd got to do that before we approve it, no?
No.
Number 5.
Okay, you want to take the 5 out? Okay. Motion to approve consent agenda except for number 5.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Okay, so number 5, resolution to accept gifts for 2018 Fall Fest. Bill, you pulled that out? Want to discuss it?
That's not a problem. I just wanted to pull it and recognize the people that have donated their time and money to the Fall Fest, and most of it is planning commission members and city council members. So this will be something I think we hand over to the city council that will be taken over after the first of the year. So one more thing they can do. So I just wanted to thank Sternberg Electric and Bergen's Greenhouse, Country View Electric, Keys Cafe, Zach's Industrial Sewing, Lindstrom Motors Auto Service, and Olson Sewer Service for their donations. So that's all I wanted.
Okay, motion to approve that resolution.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, there was no planning commission, so we'll move on to Baines Corners plat, final plat number 3, pages 4 and 5.
Sign that one here.
Okay, we have a,
You have a final plat in your packet. Beams Corner is a two-lot plat. The preliminary plat was approved several weeks ago. This is the final plat. There's been no changes. The title review has been completed, and there are conditions, so the final plat would be subject to title review conditions.
okay, we have a motion to approve the final plat with the title restrictions.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Public open forum, anyone here for public open forum? Come on up to the microphone if you wouldn't mind. Something not on the agenda?
My name is Bill Princeton. I'm with the Prairie Street Snowmobile Club. The trail runs through top. And we had a situation. Thanks. The Rice Creek Snowmobile Club is.
Say your name again to the microphone so it's on the record.
My name is William Princeton,
And your address?
president of the Rice Creek Snowmobile Club. And we're based in Circle Pines.
Okay.
Our trail runs from Ham Lake to Scandale. Recently, with the installation of the roundabout, we had a trail that went, if you look on the map that's in there, trail that went up Lake Drive on both sides all the way to just past Zurich Street, and then went through Running Ace's property, came out to their parking lot, and went east from there along the tree line and came back out eventually onto Front Freeway Drive. I was just informed on Monday that due to the hotel they're building there, that our club would no longer be available, could run on their property at all because they're cordoning it off for building of the hotel. So that left our trail with no place to go to get back onto Freeway Drive. So we're looking for an alternative route to do that. And Jim and I drove around yesterday and looked at several situations and possibilities. And the one that works out best is if we could run down Zurich Street and come back out onto Freeway Drive on the west side of Zurich Street. So what we're looking for.
You guys see any problems with that?
No, I think it's a perfect place for it, actually.
We had a meeting today, excuse me, we had a meeting today with Jim
Jim and I and Bill, I sat in their meeting, and, could you?
Would you be going, excuse me, Denny, would you be going on the sidewalk to nowhere?
Yeah.
Okay, and that never gets plowed in the, does not get plowed, so. Come on up. There you go.
It's not an ideal situation. The sidewalk area is narrow, there's trees. We drove my pickup down there, the trees hit my pickup, so knowing that
No cat wouldn't make it.
the groomer is not gonna make it down there, without cutting trees and doing that kind of stuff, which I mean, it's not a recommendation of mine. I don't think it's the best case scenario. I think Elizabeth and I agree on that. With all that being said, it's kind of up to you guys. So
We wouldn't have to run the groomer down that section that has
Where is that section with the trees?
the dotted section on.
No, but we're, not the whole thing, right?
Right, no.
it's basically from Lake Drive to the south end of Running Aces property.
Oh, that's
So
pretty- that's a
just-
lot of-
Just basically before the corner. So basically, the whole sidewalk area is where all the trees are planted, and then once you get past that point, then it's
those are
ultimately open
planted
right of way
trees?
at that point. Pardon me?
Those are the planted trees?
Those are the planted
We
trees.
don't want to cut those down.
No.
And then once you get on 147th, it's open water. There's an area that's open water.
Could you go up along Freeway, West Freeway Drive? I mean, just continue all the way around the roundabout and then down?
We can't get there because of the roundabout.
So the roundabout, once they move that, they have the trail there, which will be plowed. And then if you get off the edge of the trail, then there's power poles, and we have our sewer water markers and gate valves
On
and
the north side?
on the north side.
Yeah.
South side, there's manholes and different obstructions on that side as well. So we talked about other options, and I guess I don't know if you've ventured into any of those.
I did, and nothing is possible at this point in time. We have 3 weeks to have this trail open. It's a DNR-sponsored trail, and December 1st is the opening, and so we just got this notification Monday, and we're scrambling right now, but
Is there a way to cut down
No.
in here through the swampland or
no.
around that way?
And that's what Jim and I talked about, possibly the power lines, because the power lines were cut. You know what I mean? There's a trail through there, but I understand that that was a problem also for you to do.
The
Yeah,
drummer wouldn't make it out there in the,
There's wetlands out in there, and part of that is owned by Anoka County. And when they bought that, Jeff Perry from Anoka County Parks, who was our club sponsor, Anoka County Parks is our club sponsor to the DNR, told us that there would never, ever be motorized vehicles in that property. So he said, don't ever think about running a snowmobile trail through there.
You know,
Because we had talked about that before
So-
they bought it.
So the Anoka County Parks is part of that property, though, so after the sidewalk, it turns into Anoka County Park on that side of the road.
Yeah, but there's right of way there, right? How much right of way? The sidewalk is in the right of way.
You know,
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of road ditch there because we had, you know, ponds, I mean, on that side. And then you have the open water, and, you know what I mean, if you go on 147th, there's open water on both sides of the road once you get closer to Gander Mountain.
Bill, is there any way just to cut across here and then come down our property here? Pick up West
No,
Freeway
we
Drive?
can't get to there because of the roundabout. That was a
Can
major
you
problem.
Go around it somehow?
Um,
I don't know whose property that is there, that's the,
That's Running Aces.
There's a private property next to that as well.
There's two private properties there between Zurich and Running Aces property, which is where the old line was on there. That was Running Aces property. So there's two properties on the side of that. But because of the roundabout,
I mean, Running Aces won't let you just cut over here and go,
we can't get to that anymore because of the roundabout. When they put the roundabout in and brought the westward curb and gutter out, they told me several times this summer, I talked to Bruce, is it? Bruce. and said, you know, we need like 16 feet or 12 feet to run in that area. So no problem, no problem. And then 3 weeks ago, we were out there when they were pouring the curb and gutter, and I said, how are we gonna get in between here? Oh, you'll be okay, you'll be okay. And then all of a sudden, they put in a 10-foot bike path, then they put a light pole right dead center in the trail, and there's no way to get past that point.
I would like, could I?
Go ahead, Denny.
This plan here, if we did this plan just as a temporary, to give them a year to find out.
Yeah, we can't temporarily cut all the trees and put them back.
No, I ain't talking
No,
about trees.
there's no need to
No
cut the
need to cut
trees.
trees.
It'd be an ungroomed section of trail, though.
Yeah.
Right.
So then that would be okay.
Flagged. I'm okay with that, if you guys, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm a snowmobile, and every once in a while, you come across certain sections of trail that are ungroomed to get it in another one. It's not uncommon. It's not fun, but if you do it, you do it. It's not
not
that
that
long a
far.
stretch, no. Could you run a groomer up to that point where the trees
Yeah,
are
we
at?
have rubber tracks on
So,
it,
yeah, it's only a short stretch there that he would not be able to groom.
just like putting a Bobcat up with tracks on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So just being devil's advocate here. I see the trouble that we have, but I mean, I'm obviously on the city side, so potentially they drive down the sidewalk and you get those snowmobiles that have studded tracks and you can.
Well, those aren't legal anymore, so it'd be the carbides on the skis that would do the damage.
Well, there are people with studded tracks as well.
Not supposed to.
So, but at that
Yeah,
point, I mean, I'm just merely saying that.
Not everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere?
So, I mean, you could ultimately end up with a damaged sidewalk at that point too, depending on how much snow is there or not. I just want to throw all the scenarios so you're armed with everything that you.
When it's a
when it
sidewalk,
gets-
it never gets used.
We still don't want it wrecked, that's for sure. Someday it might be used.
When it gets to West Freeway Drive, then where do you go from there?
That's the trail.
That's the trail, that's our trail.
So that's.
So
that's
West
the
Freeway
existing
Drive,
trail right now.
then what do you do? Go over to 170th and cross the bridge and keep going?
Yeah, we go over the bridge, and then as soon as we get over the bridge, we go down into that field that's right there, and then we go back of the nursery and run to the creek, and then
Okay.
from the creek, it splits and goes to Hugo, and then it splits across the creek and goes to Circle Pines.
What if we went on the east side of that road up till the sidewalk stops and then cross the road?
The east side of the road has probably 10 to 15 feet of fairly flat land, that's right by that person that owns that, and then part of Running Aces.
Once you get to Running Aces, you can't run on the east side because that's where our sewer system is. So we have manholes and signage and stuff like that, so. Initially, before Running Aces said you can't go on our property, our intent was to go from Lake Drive down the east side of Zurich Street and then turn at the north edge of Running Aces and go through their parking lot, but that's out of the question now.
So, just to be clear, it isn't Running Aces that's causing the problem, it's the roundabout?
Oh, Running Aces doesn't want them coming
Both
through
at
there.
this point.
Yeah.
Well, if Running Aces didn't say this, you couldn't get through the roundabout anyways, right?
Well, then we were talking about going, like you just said, we were talking about going down the east side past that first properties owners, and as soon as we got to Running Aces parking lot, turn even before the first driveway, it's just grassy knoll there, turn and go over that and go right over and connect up with our trail. But where the trail goes right around the racetrack, they're putting in a big holding pond, and then where that black line goes back out to Freeway Drive is going to be the entrance for all of the construction equipment and construction stuff. And that back half of that parking lot there by the racetrack is going to be a staging area for the hotel building. Materials and equipment, and they're already digging holes there. So they told us yesterday that they didn't want anybody running on that property.
And basically, potentially to not plan on it from here on out. Because they figure that they're gonna start moving forward, developing, doing that kind of stuff, so.
I mean, if they got, they're forward thinking, a lot of people come on snowmobiles to stay overnight, so it would be short-sighted to not have a snowmobile trail go by in the winter.
And eat and all the other stuff that
eat
goes
and
along with it, yeah.
Well, right, exactly. And they probably need to get to Holiday to get fuel, right? I mean, is there a trail to get over there?
You we don't mark the trail and groom it, but you can go further down
Sure, to get to
Freeway Drive
fuel up.
and get there, but.
Okay, what do you guys want to do?
Is there a
Like I
way they
said,
can just go on the south side of that roundabout and come back at Holiday and then come down that
That's-
way? Just
he
for
says
this
no.
year?
He says no.
No, we can't get to the roundabout, the main part of the roundabout, because they have cut off the trail. With the curb and gutter of the roundabout roads, and with the bike path, and with the post, the light pole they put in what was the trail. And just before that, they've got that really deep hole dug there that they got them 3 culverts in that go over to the holding pond across the road. And that's got riffraff in there, and there's no shoulder of the road there.
Is there any other place that they allow you to go down their sidewalk? Can't imagine going down a sidewalk with the snowmobiles. Do you think any other places they do?
Oh, there's different places and stuff that you cross sidewalks and.
Cross them, yeah, but drive down them?
Run down the edge of them or whatever, but,
I'm not in favor of going down our sidewalk.
Well, on the bike path where the train tracks are, they tear that up.
No, they go down the side of it.
No, they right down the middle.
They plow the walking trail in the winter in Chisago County anyways.
Yep, and then they drive down the
Forest
side.
Lake, they don't, they go right down, they don't plow that, do they?
they don't always plow that. I live in Wyoming. They don't always plow that. Sometimes they do, but now they got new signs up there. The snowmobile trail is on
On the
the
shoulder.
west side of the paved path.
Well, what do you think, boys?
I'd like to give them a year
On the sidewalk?
on the sidewalk, just to get them by for now.
Mark?
I agree with Danny.
Bill? Year, Jeff?
No, what are they gonna do after a year?
They get a year to figure a problem to get,
Get some
They're
easements
short
right
on
away.
time this year. Next year, they have a little more time to work on
This
it.
roundabout, did come up kind of fast.
Okay, I'll go with a year.
And this is a very low traffic, snowmobile traffic area.
Yeah.
So from what people have said, and even the people at Running Aces said there's hardly.
You'll be able to figure something out, you think, in the year?
We sure hope so, but at least it gives us time. I mean, we've done reroutes
Sure.
every year for the
Okay,
last.
someone want to make a motion to?
Mr. Mayor, I just want to understand that if the trees won't be trimmed.
Won't be trimmed.
There's a sidewalk, there's curb and gutter in this area.
be.
So how will his snowmobile club know that they're at their own risk? Because this is in the right of way. So this is, you know what I mean? So if someone gets hurt in the right of way because there's a curb, they get hit by a tree, or something happens, how will they be put on notice that that's what's going on in the right of way?
Because
Hard
our
to be hit by a
trail,
tree, usually you hit them.
our trail.
My point is, you're on the trail, more than once, we've had people, run into branches. It's dark out, snowing out.
I know what you're saying.
But the trail, once the trail is marked and in place, the landowner, in this case, the city of Columbus, has an indemnification of against accidents unless the landowner caused the problem. And we carry a $2 million policy for that purpose. And in the whole state of Minnesota, there's 22,000 miles of snowmobile trails, and every single one of them have that
So
policy.
you tell landowners the same thing?
Yes,
When
we
put this.
deal with 40 different landowners in our 72 miles of trails.
I would like to see a stipulation on here, though, being an avid snowmobiler, that maybe a sign on each end, please stay on trail.
Oh, we put dozens of those up.
Yeah.
Dozens, when we will,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, anything else? I know it's not ideal, but don't see what
And
else
I understand it's not ideal, and I understand the circumstances of it. I also know the issues and problems that we've had over the years with different landowners putting different things around and having issues with getting over water, across water, and all those sorts of things that we've discussed over the years. So I know the issues that come up, and in this trail, inherently there are ponds, there are curbs, there are sidewalks, and we're not going to be changing those.
no, there's none of that we're staying on high ground, all the way around there. There's no pond that we cross, there's no
Right, and so what I'm saying is there's holding ponds, you know, here, and I realize that right now it's not wet, or it may not be wet, but in the springtime and, you know what I mean, there are times when these ponds it's quite wet over there.
Our trail runs from December 1st to March 31st.
Again, as long as everyone's put on notice that we're not, that, you know what I mean, that it's gonna be existing conditions.
Right.
If you want a copy of our insurance policy, we can get to that.
I think that'd be prudent.
Do it.
I would think we could talk to Rice Creek Chain of Lakes and come down that property. They said you couldn't ever come down, but you think? you'd
I'm
come
sorry,
down.
what?
He's thinking we could get down through here somehow, some way, someday.
Well, yeah, I've got a call into Anoka County,
Yeah.
Parks, Corey Hines and Jeff Perry, and
Because the Rice Creek Chain of Lakes actually butts that road.
is what?
So, so the Rice Creek Chain of Lakes actually, if you look at the map, it abuts that road. You know what I mean, when you come out of, off of the sidewalk, then you have the Chain of Lakes property.
But they're not talking on that land. They're talking in the right of way.
And I realize that, so, these are, you know, there's the pond area, this is the area that gets very wet, so that's why
If you're out there, you better have your waders on, I guess. I don't know.
this is where the road gets very narrow.
The only thing I was wondering about is when you get down to Gander Mountain there.
That's
or
right here.
Gander Outdoors now, go further out over, yeah. Just, I mean, you're gonna be going across these guys, you have to deal with them on that, right?
Well, we already have permission to run there.
Oh, I suppose, yeah, okay. Just you don't tear up the grass. All right, someone wanna make a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All
Thank you very
opposed?
much, we appreciate it.
All right, good luck. Try to find something else, though.
This is a 1 year.
1 year, yeah.
I thank you very much.
Yep.
Yep.
Anyone else for public open forum?
Good luck.
Go on up.
Yep.
You want this back, or these are nice folders?
Mr. Mayor, can we request a copy of the insurance policy?
Oh, yeah, sir. Good job. Bill?
Bill.
Yeah, you'll get us that insurance policy. You'll just send it to Elizabeth? Sure. A copy of that? All right, thank you. All right, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Mary Lochner, 15554 Zodiac Street in Columbus. My husband, Tom, and I are here tonight to present an issue that we have regarding a piece of land that we are trying to sell. We have about 20 acres on Zodiac Street. It's between Camp 3 Road and 153rd. Our roadway frontage is about, it's 600 and some feet, so it's a narrow and long piece of property. I'm 71, my husband is 67. We're at a place where we're needing to at least start thinking about retirement, even though we're not doing that yet. But we've had some financial changes, and because of that, we decided we needed to sell a parcel of our land to try to become debt-free and be able to retire. So we're not in the process, like I say, of retiring, but we're looking ahead. About 2 years ago, we began the process of trying to sell a parcel of our land. There were some changes involved in that because a parcel we originally planned to sell was not acceptable in terms of wetland. We understand that. We were told it would probably cost us about $15,000 to get from the place of starting to do surveying and well borings and all of that to the place of selling. It's been just about exactly that. We took out another line of credit. So the reason we're doing this is to pay off debt. We took out a line of credit for $15,000 to be able to get to the place of selling our land, which we got to this summer. And just to be clear, we're not here to blame anyone or anything or a situation. We actually just want some explanation of a situation that bears fairly heavily upon us in this sale. So the past summer, when we were just at the place of being able to sell, we were told that we needed to pay another $1,500 to Park and Lands. We were happy to do that, just so you know. We border Carlos Avery. We love what Columbus does in terms of taking care of parks and lands. That was great. We were also told at that time that before the plat could be registered, we had to pay the city $15,000 in escrow in order for us to even register the plat. We told city people that we were not able to do that. We didn't have that kind of money, and they gave us a waiver and said that, well, as soon as the property is sold, then you'll pay the $15,000. At that point, we felt between a rock and a hard place. We're not lawyers, and we knew we had just invested $15,000. So because of that, we decided to proceed. So we signed the paperwork and proceeded with that. Now we've come to the place of determining that the parcel of land that we're selling, because we had to make a change in that due to the wetland situation, we're not going to be able to ask nearly what we were hoping we would be able to ask originally. With taxes and other things, we're now at a place of thinking we might just have to eat that $15,000 and not be able to sell our own piece of land. The grievance that we have that's maybe most relevant to this meeting tonight is that as now we have started looking at the city ordinances, what we read is that this $15,000 that's being required of us does not seem to line up to us with the City of Columbus ordinances. I'm not a lawyer, neither of us are, so I'm just saying this is how it reads to us. Section 8800 of the, under Article 8, Section 8800 in the City of Columbus ordinances says that it's speaking to required improvements in subdivisions, which is what this $15,000 is about. It says that prior to the approval of a final plat by the City Council, the applicant shall have agreed to install the following improvements on the site in conformity with the construction plans approved by the city engineer. Further states that all roadways and alleys within subdivisions shall be paved, except that the City Council may permit a gravel surface if it finds that A, the proposed new road will meet an existing gravel road, B, the length of the proposed new road is too short to be desirable for city maintenance purposes, and C, the proposed new road is too short to be economically justified. Our total road frontage of our whole property, that'd be both sections, is only 659 feet. The city ordinance further states that if the City Council elects in its sole discretion to defer some portion of any required improvement, then the subdivider or owner of the property subdivided shall deposit funds sufficient to complete the improvement as part of a future public improvement project based upon the estimate of the city engineer. The deposit will be held in an interest-bearing account for the benefit of the owners of the property subdivided. At such time as the improvement is ordered, the deposit, along with any interest on the deposit, will be credited against any special assessments levied to fund the public improvement. We live on a gravel road, Zodiac Street, which has been, as far as I know, gravel for as long as it has existed. The section of Zodiac Street on which we live is not a through street. It's bounded on two sides by two gravel roads, Camp 3 Road, which dead ends into Carlos Avery, and 153rd. In the time we have been there, I don't believe that there has ever been any talk about paving Zodiac Street. I think there was talk about possibly paving 153rd, which was voted down by the neighbors. Another piece of what we're struggling with is that since there was no timeline in the ordinance, we were told by the city that the $15,000 would be returned after 10 years, if no improvement is made in 10 years, and that $15,000 would be returned to whoever lives in our house at the time, which may not be us. At 71, I don't know where I'll be. Hopefully I'll still be there, but I don't know that. We have a couple of things. One, that our concern is whether we can even go on with the sale of our house. But secondly, that we feel like this is, for us, punitive and unfair. It doesn't seem to make sense. Plus, it is, and most important probably to this meeting, the fact that the situation does not seem to us to meet the terms as stated in the city ordinance. There is no current plan to improve our roadway. The road in front of the new plat is part of an existing gravel road, so it's going to meet up with two gravel roads on each side, and it's a short section of land. I can't imagine that they would pave that section of land without paving the rest of the road. If the whole road is paved, all of us pay. We know that as neighbors. That's part of, when you live on a gravel road, that's what happens. So we're asking the council to permit the gravel service in accordance with the aforementioned section of the ordinance, and by so doing to retract the escrow requirement of $15,000. So that's our request.
Thank you. Dennis, you familiar with this ordinance?
Elizabeth, could you get that up on the,
Yeah, I was trying to get it on
Yes.
my phone here.
That is the plat.
could you get a picture of the?
Can you get the GIS picture of it,
The
where it sits? It's south of Camp 3, right?
Yes,
On the
Yep.
west side.
south of Camp 3, and we're on the west side, correct? Yep.
I am somewhat familiar with the ordinance, but other than the cost, I wasn't much involved with the stipulations that were put on.
Okay, Elizabeth, you've talked to Mary about this?
I have talked to Mary about this, and
Okay.
she actually came before the council, and we had a discussion about this particular
When was
parcel.
that?
You're 15554?
Yeah, you're not talking about me, Mary, when you're saying came before the council.
When you subdivided the land, you came before the council, or was it your surveyor that came before the council?
I don't know.
Then it was your husband. Someone came before the council when you subdivided your property.
Okay. Yeah, and the only conversation that I remember us having was that you said that this is a stipulation, and as it is in the ordinance, I see that. Although I now don't see how it applies to us.
So what was read to you was a section of the code, and what the code said was, and what we've done in the past with property owners, is when someone subdivides the property, all the roads that are inside the subdivision, the developer is responsible for improving them. And in this particular case, the subdivision, that's what I was showing you, the subdivision, half the requirement is half of a road.
But there's no roads being put in, it's gonna be a driveway?
No, Zodiac Street exists today. So in this particular case, so I'll give you an example. So the subdivision down here, this was Carlos Avery or Oak Park, I forget what the subdivision is. Well, anyway, on Zodiac Street. So when this parcel subdivided and there were 5 lots, the subdivision only went to the center of the road, and we did the exact same thing. We took it in escrow, we took it in for 10 years, then we returned it because when we did the petition, when the petition came in for 153rd to improve it, we also did a petition for Zodiac Street. And it was voted not in favor to improve the road.
So
So-
that money was returned, I think.
So the money was returned after 10 years. And so when this subdivision came in, and again, the requirement was to pave half the road, and it is a gravel road, we talked about what we would do in this particular case. And in this particular case, we said, well, we'll look at what it would cost to pave the road and what the assessment would be. So I got an estimate of what the requirement would be, and that's what we said we would do in a developer's agreement. When the developer's agreement came before the council, I'm not sure who was here, you know what I mean?
My husband, Tom.
For that. You had indicated, they said that the $15,000 would be a lot for them to pay. And the agreement was then, once they sold the property, they would put money in escrow in order to, for future pavement. So in this particular case, we had the developer's agreement drafted by our attorney at the direction of the council, and we moved forward. The direction and overall policy has been the developers improve roads in subdivisions. So we've moved forward under that premise when we bring back developers' agreements. If you deviate from that, that's, as she read, you can certainly make exceptions
But you're not gonna develop now?
Pardon me?
You're not gonna develop this anymore?
Well, it kind of depends on this. I mean, if we're only going to be able to get $100,000 for our property and say something like that, and we have to pay $15,000 that we might not ever get back, and our purpose, then it's $30,000 out, that, you know, the $15,000 to get it ready, and $15,000 to the city, income taxes, it makes no,
Well,
we're
that
not sure
15,000 that you put in escrow is a value to the property.
I'm
So
sorry, what
whoever-
was that?
The 15,000 you put in escrow will be a value to the property, so whoever buys it has that as an asset that they're purchasing, so the purchase price should go up by that amount.
Should go up by that amount, but I
I
don't
don't
know.
know why it wouldn't.
But, Mr. Mayor, our purpose is in being able to do something to look at retirement now, not in 10 years. I mean, that's the whole reason why we were doing this, and we didn't know anything about that $15,000 until this summer. That's been a hardship. If we had known about that, I'm fairly certain we would not have gone forward with this.
How many lots are they gonna develop in there?
It's 6.5 acres. We're dividing one little piece for one little house, 6.5 acres. It's a long, narrow, so we have a long, narrow, I could show you on the other map, but it would be on the the southernmost, well, I've got it on here.
So we have this.
I have a plat map.
I mean, we allow a cul-de-sac with some 2.5 acre, 2.2 acre lots. I mean, why wouldn't you do that and get more lots there? Are you familiar with that?
What's it?
It's not wide enough.
Yeah, our problem,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're familiar with what I'm talking about, though, sir?
Yes, my husband,
Okay.
yes. You can come up here, you know.
So I think the idea is, you know, as we look, we had the neighborhood meeting last night, as we look at different lots, and you look at assessments, the assessments are in about the $7,500 range. You know what I mean? And so because this subdivision would have been required to pave that road, that's really what it's replacing.
Right.
It's replacing what it would have cost. So generally, it's passed along, you're right, in the purchase price of a lot. That's what most developers do. They pass along the paving onto the property owner. I understand what they're saying. It is a hardship, you know what I mean, to lay it out.
I think it's part of the process, though. I mean, to go around it would kind of be slighting all the people that put the $15,000 or whatever had to be put away. I don't know, what do you guys think?
I agree.
I think the money, you pass that on to the property value.
Yeah.
It's not, you know,
But had we known that, sir, I mean, like I'm trying to explain, our whole purpose we would rather not sell any of our land. I mean, we'll look across our pond and see another house, which we don't now. Our sole purpose in doing this was to try to help our situation now. In my 70s, you know, when, this is when I need some help, when we need some help now. My husband had a career change because of back surgery, and our financial, that's no interest really in this matter, other than that's part of what brought us to making this decision. So.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Jeff,
Let me understand this, the 15,000 is for a future possible road.
possible roads, which if it doesn't happen in 10 years, it goes back to whoever's occupying the land.
Well, wouldn't they assess it? Wouldn't we assess it like we normally do? Why would they have to pay up front?
So the money is there to do the development.
But it would be there anyway once it's,
Not Zodiac, well, the value is gonna be there in escrow. So it's your money that someone else will have to pay for when they buy the land.
I don't understand what you're saying. Usually land, we
Can
pay
you,
for it
you
when
wanna
it's
get a
done.
stab at it?
Sure, what I would say is
Griffith?
maybe go a different direction.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I would want to address the fact that this plat has already been recorded and the development agreement has already been signed. So if we do this, the direction would be to have staff prepare amendments to that. And It's my understanding that we probably need to reapply and amend that plat. So this may be a fairly significant undertaking to just revisit this one issue. This was before the council at one point. Typically, that would be the opportunity to apply for a variance or some deviation from these rules. But as Elizabeth said, this is standard in every community that I've ever worked in, that if there's an improvement that's contained within the four corners of your development subdivision, even if it is a minor lot split, that you would be accountable for the improvements that either are being made or are potentially to be made. And in Columbus, you have a lot of unpaved streets. So to your point, this $15,000 runs with the land. And in 10 years, the property owner will receive that money back.
Or it will be spent.
Or it will be spent. And I think what you were trying to say is that this money runs with the land, and it will be an asset that runs with the land unless it's improved.
And we already allowed you to pay it once the land is sold.
And it will also defray the costs of subsequent assessments. But yes, it also, there was already deviation granted from the typical rule, which would have required it to be paid up front.
And you understand why we did that at the time, because we felt like we were up against a wall. We'd spent $15,000 to get to that place, that we took out another loan, and the whole reason, so.
But that's not germane to us trying to apply the rules to everyone fairly, so I think that's kind of the point here. Bill, you got anything to say about this?
I just want, has there been an appraisal done on the property? Have you guys had an appraisal done on that 6.5 acres? So you have an idea?
Well, we've looked at comps, yes,
I mean, you've actually had somebody appraise it.
yes.
I mean, I just paid 110,000 or so for 5 acres, so I mean, I think it'd be worth more than that.
Because it's a very difficult piece to build on, there's a limit to the kind of house that can be built on it because it's on a wetland on two sides. It would very likely have to be a slab on grade. We didn't know this, again, until recently, and that's nobody's fault, but I suppose we should have had someone,
Okay,
yeah.
all right, well, I'll ask council, someone want to make a proposal to, motion to change the agreement that we have in place?
Change it to
Whatever,
whatever the
Whatever you
commissioner wants to
think.
make.
Could I say one more thing, please?
sure.
Is there not written in the ordinance the possibility that it can be waived if the road is too short, or if it's butting up against two other gravel roads? I mean, there are things written in here for people, it sounds like, in our.
So where's your road gonna be built? Somewhere, Elizabeth, you go
We're
back to the
not
other
building
map.
a road, sir.
They're not building, there's no road being built. The frontage is on Zodiac Street.
So it's for the frontage?
So the plat goes to the middle of Zodiac Street. So in the plat, they're required to pave half the road per the plat, because half the road is inside the plat. That's the improvements that they're required to make. And so we don't pave half a road. And so in lieu of paying half a road, we're allowing the subdivision to happen on a gravel road. And the one condition we said was, okay, we'll allow you to remain on a gravel road. We will not require you to pave half a road. Instead, we'll allow you to do a developer agreement. And the development agreement says that when you sell the lot, then you put money in escrow, because if the road improves in 10 years, we will use that money towards that road and project, because that's what was required as part of the plat, because we require every developer to do the improvements for the roads in every other plat.
With these exceptions, however, as stated in your ordinance.
Correct.
And the exception is allowing a gravel road. So we allow the subdivision on a gravel road, which is what they did allow. They allowed your subdivision to move ahead without improving it. So you did get the exception that's in that clause. And in that clause, it doesn't release you from the liability of the improvement. And so the developer's agreement allowed her to put it in escrow, but then return it if the road wasn't improved in 10 years. Which further down in Zodiac, that's exactly what we did. We returned it.
Because the 10 years has expired.
And we had already gone through a neighborhood meeting and it was turned down.
Okay, so the hardship here is the time value of money of the $15,000 for 10 years, which is going to be borne to the person who buys the land. So I guess I don't see why we should exclude that right now. If somebody else wants to make a motion to do that.
It seems fair. I was going to make a motion to exclude it, but I think if you pass it on to the buyer, if you do decide to sell, if you don't sell, it'd be $15,000.
Well, no, if you don't sell, she doesn't have to spend the money. Because, right, because it was only contingent on selling the land that they have to send us the $15,000.
Right.
That's right.
So if they don't sell,
Yeah.
it was only the $15,000 to prepare the documents and to prepare the
Yes, but
Flat.
we will now pay additional income tax on that, or property tax. So what we would try to do then is to go back to the way it was before.
oh, because you have a new lot, it's not as,
But
well,
for
it would be
tax
homesteaded
for-
until you
for-
sell it.
For tax purposes, they can combine it at Anoka County.
Okay.
They don't have to go through another plat to combine it for tax purposes.
Right, because you can adjoin, yeah.
Just tax higher.
No, I think
No.
it'd be the same, because you bring it together. I did the same thing. I brought a lot next to mine, adjoining mine, so I didn't have to pay it as a separate lot.
So the combination paperwork at Anoka County, people combine lots for tax purposes, just for the reason you stated. They don't want to pay taxes on two separate lots. And so, so until such time they want to sell it, they only do it, they only have one lot. So it's one sheet of paper that you go to Anoka County and fill it out and do that. So in this case, if you decide not to sell, you can go to Anoka County, combine it, and then you would not have to put the money up.
Okay.
Sorry,
Okay.
thank you.
Thanks for listening.
Yep, thanks for bringing it to us. All right, anyone else for public open forum? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to, we'll convene a board of canvass for the 2018 election results, pages 6 through 10 of your packet.
And Mr. Mayor, here,
So I'll open a board.
what I would, I'll walk you through the process here
Okay.
while Elizabeth hands these out. I know we only do this every couple of years. First, you're going to recess the city council meeting.
Okay.
Then you're going to convene the board of canvassing. Need to each swear in as the canvassing board. We'll read off the local election results, and you only have to read them off for the city of Columbus. And then you'll need to sign the abstract, which is this, I believe it's page 4 of 5, which is the certification. And then you'll close the canvassing board and reopen.
So the oath of office that you have before you is just for your own purposes. I'll send the official one down that you'll actually have to sign. And then I also have an official canvas that I also pass down that each of you will have to sign.
We just sign it once, or everybody got one of these?
That's for your oath, that's in order so that everybody knew what the oath that they were going to take. So once you convene as the Board of Canvas, you all will take that oath.
We have to swear to that out loud.
Yep, you're going to kind
Raise
of
our
take the
right
oath.
hands.
And then I'll sign the official one. I'll send the official one down that you're all going to sign.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll also send down the canvas, the Board of Canvas official paperwork that you all will sign.
Okay, so I will recess the city council meeting and open the, convene the Board of Canvas. All right, so what do you have to read in there?
You're going to take the oath, so.
Okay. Everybody want to read it out loud? Ready, set, go. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and I will discharge faithfully my duties as a member of the City Columbus Canvassing Board to the best of my judgment and ability.
Okay,
You'll
so
sit
the
up
one I'm
and down.
sending down, that's the one now you're going to all sign.
Like that? Are you up with this?
We almost could keep up, Dave.
Every other word's good.
Well,
Sign this.
Yeah. Okay, and then on page 4 and 5, does somebody have to read the results here, or what?
So in your packet, you have several sheets. You have what they call an abstract, and in the abstract, it tells you the summary of the totals. It gives you information about the election. It indicates that you had 2,765 persons registered at 7 a.m. It talks about how many persons registered on the day, which is 140. The number of accepted and absentee mail ballots was 601 ballots, which we processed 480 here in the offices, both through absentee and direct balloting. And then the total number of persons voting was 2,296 voters. The larger sheet gives you all the breakdowns of the statistics of our precinct. We only have one precinct in Columbus, and it talks about how many election judges we use, voting booths, and it just gives you an overall feel of what happened on Election Day. We had a 83% turnout, which is a very high turnout if you look at the statistics. You know what I mean? Overall, I think the election had a pretty high turnout. We had 83% turnout here in Columbus.
Okay, so does somebody have to read this into the record?
So looking on the first page, you'll see that there's the mayor's race and the council's race. You would read the results in each one of the races. There's also write-ins. The write-ins were actually manually counted. There were 9 write-ins in the mayor's race and 9 write-ins in the council race. Those are also, one sheet is in your additions, the other sheet is in your agenda packet. The reason why there's 2 sets, the sheet that is A1 was the absentee ballot votes for write-ins, and the other sheets were the ones that were on Election Day for people who did write-ins on Election Day. Just so you're all aware, on Election Day, or just overall, we have 3 sets of numbers that we bring together on elections now. So you have absentee voting by mail, you have absentee voting direct balloting, and then you have in-person Election Day voting. Each one of them has a different process, and each one of them is counted, and then on election night, they're all put together. So takes a lot of technology to get through all of that, but, so you have different numbers that are collaborated on that night. The city does not have all of the results. We only have results of the precinct totals, and the other numbers are put together in Anoka County. That's why we have this other big sheet showing how all the numbers came together. Having said that, the abstract comes from the county. They prepare it for us because they put the numbers together. We have a role as a city, and the city is that we have to accept and validate the local vote, which is the mayor and city council race. Those are the numbers that you'll read into the record. Jesse will put that in the minutes.
Jesse, why don't you just read them off for the mayor and the city council? You have it, Andy?
Sorry, I haven't been following along with my papers here. What am I reading?
Should be on page 1 of the abstract. The mayor and council member.
I can do it. So for the mayor's race, Dave Pavoni, 947 votes. Jesse Preiner, 1,198 votes. Write-in votes, 9 votes. Council member at large, which is elect 2, so the top 2 numbers would prevail in that race. Mike Kempf, 708. Janet Hegland, 1,113. Bill Krebs, 785. Shelley Logren, 1,057, and there's 9 write-ins. The individual members of the write-ins as written on the sheets, and you do have to accept those votes also.
No Mickey Mouse? Do we have to read those in?
We do not have to read those in.
All right, so at that point, we just have to, someone makes a motion to approve the election results, or what?
Yes.
So moved.
Okay? Second. All right, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, opposed? Ayes have it.
So I will pass down the actual canvas, which is the page 4 where you're accepting the election results for the local election.
Mara Baines got 3 votes for mayor.
I seen that.
Who did?
Mara Baines, the mayor of Forsyth. Okay, with that done, then we can close the canvas
Adjourn.
board. Okay, do we need to take a motion to close the canvas board? Or can I just close it?
I'd take a motion.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to close the canvas board.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, we'll reconvene the city council meeting as of now. Okay, what we got next?
Mr. Engineer.
Engineers report.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council. I do have 4 items on the agenda tonight. First one is the information update. Don't want to dive into this one in too much detail, but there's the city sits on the advisory committee for the White Bear, I'll say the White Bear Lake issue, but it's part of the North and East Metropolitan Area, groundwater management area. So they're having a meeting every 6 months at this point. And in your packets, you just have a handout that was presented. And all I wanted to mention was that the DNR has done they hired a consulting firm to do very detailed modeling that can be used for White Bear Lake or other lakes to determine if it's connected to groundwater and how the lake interacts with the environment. So for White Bear Lake, some of the summary findings were that overall in the area, actually, regardless of the lake itself, groundwater usage by cities and by residents have been declining over the last 10 to 12 years, mainly due to conservation efforts and water reuse efforts. The current groundwater use in the White Bear Lake area does comply with the Minnesota's sustainability standard, which is a state statute. They also do acknowledge, though, that groundwater usage in the White Bear Lake area has contributed to lake elevations. There is a connection. One of the things that the judge had put into effect was a 5-mile radius around the lake, and if the lake falls below a certain level, then there's proposed irrigation bans for residential use. That has been stayed for a year while there's more information. Columbus is not in that 5-mile radius. But that is, their modeling showed that even if everyone in that 5-mile radius stopped irrigating residentially, it would only have several inch impact on White Bear Lake. So at this point in time, the DNR is appealing the Ramsey County District Court's ruling based on the court's assessment of science and interpretation of state law, and the matter's pending in the Minnesota Court of Appeals, and they expect a ruling in the first half of 2019.
Okay.
So there's no direct impact to Columbus at this time, being out of the 5-mile radius. But the cities that are in the 5-mile radius, it has been impacting permits for construction, and has had a direct impact to development.
So the DNR was for this, or they were against it?
They did a study.
Because they first came in here and said they were our buddies, and we're gonna take care of this, and then we found out later they weren't our buddies.
Well, they're the ones appealing the court action, so they're not necessarily in agreement with the interpretation by the judge that it's almost, it's primarily groundwater usage that's affecting the lake.
So 5 miles takes Columbus out pretty much,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
So-
Because that's what they were claiming, we were using water up from the lake, which wasn't true. So,
Yeah, at this point, and there's still, depending on what the final court action is, the cities in that 5-mile radius, which is up on the screen there, could be impacted to be directed to use more surface water usage.
So this is a situation that the future council and mayor need to pay attention to, because at one time, they were talking about pumping water from the Mississippi to Columbus. So it's very important that this stays watched at, because they want us to cut back our water use, which we don't use much to start out with, and it was getting real messy.
Right, although Columbus isn't in the 5-mile radius, you're still one of the 13 or so cities that were named and impacted by this.
And we've been fighting to try and get out of that for probably 5-6 years.
Yeah, you've done a pretty decent job of that.
Yeah, so.
So that's just information at this point.
Okay.
Next time I had on the agenda was Anoka County's engineer regarding Camp 3 Road intersection at Kettle River. So you should have in your packet also a copy of an email that Elizabeth received from the county engineer regarding that intersection, and we had talked about this previously, about the skew at the intersection. The county's feedback is that, one, they don't do flashing stop signs, either the flashers or the ones that are lined, that blink. And they provided a couple sketches of what could be done to realign the intersection, a fairly significant change. One would be to cul-de-sac off Camp 3 between Kettle River and Lake Drive. And
I
also,
think both of those are ridiculous,
and the other one is to realign, a more major realignment of Kettle River.
and more ridiculous.
So it's really information, or if you have any discussion you want brought back to the county, or what they can control, other than some of the sketches they provided, is just clearing vegetation for sight distance within their right of way.
What if we put a sign up under the stop sign that says cross traffic does not stop? See those in Forest Lake. Would that help?
I don't,
Hurt.
it wouldn't hurt. I don't, the issue is not, the issue is not people not stopping. It's that angle.
No, they don't stop too.
Roll
If you
through it.
talk to Glenn Miles, he'll tell you, he watches them out his kitchen window. Boom.
Okay.
They just blow right through it. I think it's more of an alignment problem with our street, not necessarily Kettle River. It's our street that comes in at a funky angle. There's just enough angle where the side post is in the way of, now.
To the
we
north
have-
or to the south?
Both ways. So the same thing happens on Howard Lake and Kettle River. If you come in, you kind of have to turn a little bit to the right so that you can see the traffic coming from your right.
Right.
Notre Dame, there's all
Yeah,
kinds
so
of them in this
why
city.
can't we just realign those streets to give a jog in the street? Like right here, if make this come in at more of a curve up, and then have this one come in at a curve down.
I think the county wants to avoid an offset, so you'd have to realign both to.
It's just a simple center island curb and widen the street a little bit.
We can run
I
that
mean,
by
that's
them.
all we were looking for. I mean, this cul-de-sac and, I mean, I know at one point I talked with the county guy, and he was talking about a roundabout somewhere in there. But that's none of what he come back here with. So, I mean, just clearing now and not ask him if we can do that.
Yeah, we can provide them that question, that information.
At both those intersections, and what's the other one?
Well, Notre Dame and right here in front of City Hall. I mean, you gotta cock your vehicle to look down there. There's so many roads that come into this, at angles in this city, they're horrible.
I think
But
they all-
Howard Lake's really bad.
Howard Lake's really bad,
I mean, you gotta go like this just to see down the road. It's bad.
to see north, yeah.
See the north side, yep.
So I'd like to see those,
Lines and Kettle.
ask them about, because those are city roads to county roads.
Right.
And really the problem's not the county road, it's the city road. So the question is whether we could turn the end of Howard Lake a little bit to the north, so that you align yourself perpendicular to the.
That one would be easier being just a T
Yeah, make it as perpendicular
than a
to.
cross street.
So, and the same thing goes here,
We can continue those conversations.
that'd be good. All right, anything else?
Not on that topic. Two more items. The next item was preliminary estimate for Hornsby Street South. You had directed us to do a feasibility study. I don't have the final document, but what I do have is some preliminary estimates. And I'll just throw these up on the screen there, Elizabeth, if I could. talking about Hornsby Street south from where the previous project left off down to 145th. A very preliminary sketch of what a typical section could look like with a new roadway. You asked us to come up with a cost estimate. I have 3 options, and I wanted to get some direction from the council. This option would be the minimal. The existing road is 12-foot lanes, maybe not always, and narrow shoulders. The minimum option would be putting back 12-foot lanes and 4-foot gravel shoulders. We did have soil borings done, and based on what the geotechnical consultant is recommending, to get a 10-ton roadway, you're looking at a proposed section of 6 inches of asphalt on 8 inches of gravel on a foot of sand.
Wow.
So it's a pretty hefty section based on the type of soil that's out there. This would be minimal improvements, but even this option, and the length is almost exactly a mile. To do this cross-section, and these are real round numbers, is about 1.5 million.
A mile.
For the mile. I'll call it option B, which is an intermediate cross-section, would still have 12-foot lanes, have 4-foot paved shoulders, and 4-foot gravel shoulders. That ends up resulting in widening and filling in the ditches and 4 feet wider roadway. This option is about $2.1 million.
Okay.
Option C, which I'll call the full section, that's the section that Hornsby South was built to currently. It's got 12-foot lanes, 8-foot paved shoulders, and 4-foot gravel shoulders. This one obviously does a lot more widening, and this option's almost $2.7 million.
Okay.
So there's those 3 sections and those 3 very preliminary cost estimates.
Right, so a semi pulled over on the side of the road on option C at least isn't gonna create a road hazard.
Correct, and have the full section as well. Option C, that gives you extra width if you want to stripe a center turn lane or a right turn lane. Option B would give you, if development came in that would require a turn lane, then they'd have to widen in front of their property. So
That's perfect, that's what we're looking for.
those are
Yep.
sizable numbers, but that'll let you decide on kind of what the budget is and the other street.
Okay.
So I don't know if,
Are we at that point right now where we need to choose, or is that that we haven't gone out for bids or anything on that?
no, this is, again, we haven't even finished the full feasibility study report. This is just the preliminary findings. At that point, we would bring it back, but it will probably tie into the next topic.
Yeah, before you move on, you guys, are you thinking A, B, or C?
Not decided yet.
Okay.
Well, I like the prices of the first one, but
No,
you
I
gotta
don't
get
think you
more
can do
wider.
that.
No, you need wider shoulders if a truck breaks down
Yeah,
or
you gotta-
something. You gotta, for the safety.
You
of
gotta have
vehicles in
C.
there.
I mean, what's a life worth on that one? What do you guys think? Bill? Jeff?
I don't know for sure right now.
Okay. All right, all right. Next thing?
The next item is that regarding the city's proposed 2019 road improvements, and you have a memo just handed to you this evening, so you obviously haven't had a chance to go through all of it. We had 2 neighborhood meetings last night, and the first meeting was on 165th from Potomac to Kettle River. And we've gone through neighborhood meetings before, so we presented information, I do have in the summary memo, we did have 16 property owners represented out of 37 parcels, so a little less than half. At the end of the night, we took a informal vote, and there was 2 absentee votes that the city also received. So those were added in. There was 6 votes in favor of paving it and 12 not in favor of paving it. And this also included the city contribution of 40% to the project cost from city road funds. And with that contribution, we had estimated that a tentative assessment would be $5,300 for a resident per parcel
On 165th.
on 165th.
So $5,000 a piece and they still didn't go for it.
They don't get the
Correct.
road, it looks like they're not getting their road tarred.
And that was Potomac to Kettle River.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the full length. So that was the first meeting.
Okay.
The second meeting was, maybe I'll, do you have a map, Elizabeth, that can show where all the residential streets? Yeah, that one. So on that map on the screen, you can see all the streets in green were residential streets that we held a neighborhood meeting for. The two streets highlighted in blue, Notre Dame and 181st, those are the streets that the city is planning on reclaiming next year. And so the intent of the neighborhood meeting and inviting the neighborhood was that if the city's doing those projects and the neighborhood wants to include those streets, that you get better bid prices historically. So we held one neighborhood meeting for all the streets in green. So there's 176th, 181st, Rutgers, 178th, Vassar, Tulane, and 186th. The way it worked out, all the lots had potentially one accessible lot, except for one lot up on the north end of 186th. The other two, I'll say caveats, I have some notes, that's some specific things that we discussed. There are two cul-de-sacs there's one on 176th and one on Rutgers that are currently not improved as cul-de-sacs. They're just driveway turnarounds. So we had proposed that the city would bring those up to a gravel standard, and then the paving would be part of the paving project and assessments.
Sounds fair.
This one has nothing.
Right, that actually stops short of the end. The other thing to point out is that based on the existing gravel widths out there, we had estimated 18 feet wide paving for 176th, Rutgers, and 181st, and 20 feet wide for, I'll call them the through streets, 178th, Vassar, and Vassar, Tulane, because there's wider existing gravel there.
Will those be striped?
No, typically we do not stripe residential streets. There is a section on Vassar, I'll call it Vassar North, that does neck down to 14, 15, 16 feet wide. And
Where
we were
all
going
the
to,
trees are, right by the road?
we were going to propose to widen that to at least get an 18-foot wide
You'd have to take the trees out, or?
pavement. Didn't get that far, but we're anticipating we wouldn't have to. It's about a 1 foot, 1.5 foot widening.
Okay.
So just so you know that was part of it.
I thought some of them trees came down in the storm.
They did?
Did they? Did they? Some did.
There's quite a few of them.
So based on all those streets together, actually, one more thing is that we did apply for a state road program grant for 181st, since at the end is a wildlife management area. We won't know those results for quite a while, but if we are successful to get grant money, you have to make a wider street to meet their standards, but it would bring the cost down slightly for 181st, for the project.
So it's 50/50 and our set point is 50? Is that right?
As far as the voting?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the voting results, there was 40 property owners represented, and there was 20 in favor and 20 not in favor. I gave a breakdown on the second page of
Yeah.
by street.
So then what do you do then? I mean, it looks like Tulane and Vassar, I mean, there's more, I mean, it looks to me
Yeah.
like there was more that wanted it than didn't want it.
And this is informal voting. This is to help you decide, do you want to send formal petitions out to get, formal results from everyone in?
Yeah.
on those
I would
neighborhoods.
say on the second one, yes, the first one, no. What do you guys think?
Agree.
What are you talking about, Dave?
165th don't want it, so I guess that's over.
Yeah, that one's over.
And those
That's-
guys on the second area here, I think, they're pretty close to wanting it, so I think we should try to send it out.
As far as Tulane and Vassar?
Yeah.
It was,
Well, be 176, 181st, Rutgers.
yeah, the way it was presented was an area, it was an area.
Area-wide project.
Yeah, but
And I think the cost will be significantly lower. A, with all those particular streets, and B, with an asphalt plant close, so.
So then you wouldn't go to the, and I'm just using it for information, you wouldn't go to Tulane and Vassar because there's more people there that want it and say, okay, we're doing this, get them their numbers, because I heard the numbers are high, they'll probably be lower than they are. They're pretty high, 8.
Yeah, we had estimated 7,985 as a preliminary assessment for these projects.
So is that before figuring out the base, because those two roads got some pretty good base on them, don't they? Yeah. So would you include those with the 181st and Notre Dame then? I mean, these other people
Yes.
obviously don't want the.
It would try to be one big project to bring the cost down.
If you start pulling out a road here and road there, you're gonna raise the cost for the people who wanted it.
No, yeah, but I'm just saying, so you're gonna take all the roads together and try and do the 50/50?
Yeah.
It was 50/50, right?
It
Right.
was.
That was an informal vote, though. They're going for a formal now.
So then we'd be looking at it to get our numbers nailed down and figure out how it's gonna cost at this point, right?
Right.
For all of them.
Yep.
Right, so what the action we're looking for is for the council to decide if you want to send petitions.
Somebody want to
out.
make a motion to, on
Dave,
area
you
one?
have a question out there.
I didn't see it. Oh, sure, come on up to the microphone. Is it about this topic?
Pardon me?
About this topic?
I guess so.
Okay.
People get tough. Richard Mike, 18429 Vassar Street. I was here last night, we talked about, why is this even brought up? I was told that it was brought up mainly for maintenance purposes. Why is the
Why
paving
was-
even brought, did somebody from Vassar Street come up here and say, we want this road paved?
No, this was a city-initiated area.
Right, I mentioned that last night, that there's citizen petition and there's also city initiated, and this was city initiated.
Who sent the petition out?
It hasn't been sent out
Okay,
yet.
okay. I misunderstood.
City initiated, not petition.
And I don't know if that's the city's job. I don't know. North of me, south of me, there's a lot that's split in half. How is that gonna be handled?
We had one assessment for every buildable lot. If it's vacant, it gets an assessment.
It's 3.5 acre, 3 3/4 acre lot. One is owned by the person on the north, the other half is owned by the person on the south. Eventually, you know that's gonna be sold.
Right, if it's less than 5 acres, then it's one assessment, one lot.
Okay. Okay.
If it was 8 acres, it would still be.
It'd still be one, if it's less than
lot.
10, I should say.
Exactly, that's.
Bill, you said that it was a vote of equal, 20-20,
Well, that's what they're telling me.
but that's equal. That isn't, the majority didn't want the paving, it was equal.
No, but I think our
Yeah.
recommendations are, we send out the formal request
understand
at
that.
50%.
There must have been, what, 40 or 50 people that didn't show up at all?
There was 96 potential lots.
So there was 56 people that didn't show up.
Correct,
56 lot owners.
lot owners.
Okay, thank you,
Some are vacant.
thank you.
No, Mr. Mike, I was just picking out Vassar and Tulane because there seemed to be a majority there. And I was just trying to figure out if they would go for it, or if you would want it, that we would just do Vassar and Tulane.
My math must be wrong because I can't see 20 and 20 as a majority.
No, this was, Mr.
It is
Mike,
50% though.
Yeah, but this is for all, but Dave,
And that's another question.
Now,
Why
our
would
law
that ever,
doesn't
why
say
would that ever
majority, our law
change?
says 50%. We changed it in order to, it's cheaper for us to have all the roads tarred.
Who said that?
The Public Works Department has come up with that determination.
There was a woman that was here, within 15 minutes, she showed us 2 articles. Of course, the internet isn't always right.
Sure.
That says that it isn't cheaper to pave.
Right, she
Some
also
cases-
didn't have all the facts. It depends on the
Well, I don't know.
the volume of the traffic on the road as well.
So then if we're gonna pave all the roads in the city, does that mean that we get a tax break then as a homeowner? If it's
No, but you're-
cheaper,
No, actually, it bodes against you in the long run because.
I know it does.
Your land is worth more. Inevitably, your land is worth more. It's more desirable to be purchased, and therefore you
So,
can decides to raise.
in all honesty, our taxes will probably go up.
It'll go up a little bit. I mean, it'll go up definitely by the value of the assessment.
As a 78-year-old and a resident here for almost 50 years, I find that hard to swallow. You know, I just find that hard to swallow. I was here for quite a while, and the dirt roads never bothered me.
Yeah. Well, if we veer from our 5-acre lot size, it's gonna get even worse, so.
More frustration?
Yes, so.
Yes, I know it is.
It would, and I did everything I could to keep our 5-acre lots.
And that's another problem, isn't it?
It's gonna be, yes, sir.
Yeah.
So pay attention.
Yeah,
Anything else?
It's hard. No, I guess that's enough.
All right, thanks for coming up. All right, so with that in mind, I guess at this point, we could make a determination on 165th. Anyone want to make a motion to?
Motion, we disallow it in our studies and don't go any further. with it.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Danny got it. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Ayes have it. All right, then when it comes to second area, the north area, I'll call it. Does someone want to make a
Sixth
motion
Street?
to do a study or to send out a?
Send out petitions.
Send out
Petition.
petitions.
Make a motion, send out petitions of these 6 streets, 7 streets,
Second.
7? Okay.
Bill got that one. Okay.
So at that
any other
point, will
discussion?
you have better numbers on that, or do you have to wait till after the petitioners?
You have formal numbers, right?
Right, you have to wait to receive the petitions back in, and we'll bring it back to the council.
And when will, so then once you have your next meeting or whatever the case would be, is then you'll set out the bids then?
Once you receive the petitions, then the council will decide, well,
Vote for
if the
project.
project's a go, and you'll order the project, and we'll have a public hearing and a
Okay.
feasibility study.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. What else you got?
That's it for me, thank you.
Okay, attorney's report.
Mr. Mayor, no report.
Oh, excuse me. Danny, Mike. Sure.
Can I back up a little bit?
Sure.
I've been learning about TIF financing.
Uh-huh.
I understand that the new building that's proposed down there is
Correct.
going to take the TIF financing.
Yes. Well, I don't know if you call it financing.
Well, I'm sorry if I'm using the wrong
Okay.
terminology. They capture the city, county, and school district taxes, right?
Mhm.
For a period of, what, 9 years?
Boy, yeah, something like that.
Yes.
9 years.
Eight,
That money-
8 plus
That
water.
money can get used back to that project.
Yes.
So in this case, does that money go to the building itself, or does it go to the infrastructure road?
Some from column A and some from column B.
So they can delegate, or they can,
I think the council does that. And I think we already did that, right? So we chose, what were the numbers we ended up with? Because we bounced them around.
You chose 41,000 for administrative costs and approximately 63,000 to go toward James Bay and 573,000 to go towards the business subsidy.
Clear enough? Actually, it was column A, B, and C. Okay. All right. Good?
I'll just talk a little bit more.
Okay, thank you. All right. Continue. What were you saying?
Mr. Mayor, no report.
Oh, okay. No report. Council report. Denny,
Nothing to report.
Mark,
I have nothing today.
Jeff.
Back to Hornsby. Are they gonna be done running the cement factory or cement, whatever you call it? Are they gonna keep pouring
Are you talking about North Hornsby or South Hornsby?
North Hornsby? Where they got the cement tower set up and stuff? Is
Yeah.
that-
That is
That's
intended to
what-
be there through the end of,
Is that done, they're done pouring, though, I assume?
for the year.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure.
I would think we could open that road back up to traffic for the winter, I would say. I would like to see that opened up.
I would think it depends on the condition of the road.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's that bad.
I mean, they've beat it up pretty bad, I would think.
The bridge will be coming down this weekend.
Yep.
And then they'll be diverting traffic to the north side, which is the new bridge. I don't know whether the new bridge actually connects with Old Hornsby or not. And does it actually marry?
It's on the
up?
north side of 97 now, but I didn't know if there's a connection to, other than than the contractor using Old Hornsby. It's not set up for a,
What would be the reason to reopen it?
Just for traffic, people used to it, people, it's easier to get to.
I think if it's possible, I think we should.
I think so too.
I don't know if it's possible, though.
I don't know, we look at it.
I would recommend not doing that, just because you open it up and then you close it back up next summer again, and the road is in pretty rough shape, but we will be starting construction in I don't know what time in the spring on the project itself, but it wouldn't be for the
In
winter.
December?
No, it wouldn't be for the winter,
Oh, next
next spring.
spring?
I think we should take a look at it. Jim, if you want to go down and take a look at it.
I don't think we should.
I don't think we should either.
I think you're people taking a left-hand turn on that road when it's incomplete and not finished up yet. It's a traffic hazard right now.
No stoplight, no stop signs.
It's always been that way.
Yeah.
I don't,
They-
All right, well, okay.
I can take a look at the geometrics, because I'm not sure what they have going on 97 right now.
All right, Kettle River Boulevard is going to be paved next year, I believe, mill and overlay on Kettle River Boulevard, north of Broadway.
I'm not sure.
I believe it is going to be, and I would like to see the city send a letter of,
Fix the shoulders?
put some shoulders on it, at least a 3 foot, possibly, I mean, there's an 8 foot south of Broadway. It'd be nice to see something on the north.
Because I think it widens up in Wyoming.
I
thought
thought
it
they
was
weren't,
3 foot on
I thought they weren't gonna do Kettle till they got Broadway done. And
think they
Broadway's
should-
My understanding is that the traffic light at 17 and 18, West Broadway in Lexington, is a next year project. The Broadway shouldering project is a next year project. I'll ask Anoka County, I'm unaware of Kettle River being next year
I
also.
was told it was next year.
But if it is, well, we haven't been notified, but
Right.
we'll, if they are, we'll lobby for the shoulders.
I thought the last time we talked to them, they said that Broadway was first and then Kettle, because we agreed that the shoulder should be widened at that point. And they said that was gonna be pushed off another year. Maybe not, but you're right. That road's way too narrow and they're going way too fast, and it needs to have shoulders on it.
Very heavy traffic.
Then when you hit the roundabout, then you got shoulders all the way past the city hall
Yeah.
Right.
I know.
and down to, yeah,
All right, that's all I have.
Okay, Bill?
I got nothing.
All right, I don't have anything. Public Works report?
I have a question, actually.
No,
Mark was
just a
gonna ask,
report.
but he didn't.
It says report on here, it doesn't say public work questions.
Well, this is actually a Parks question.
Well, we don't have that on the thing.
It's part of my report,
All right.
though. All right,
I'll allow it.
Sorry about that.
that's all right. Well, Mark was actually gonna do it, so I actually didn't have a report.
Oh.
He let me down.
Yeah, I blew it.
Oh,
So the question is, tomorrow night, we have a park board meeting, and we
Okay.
talked about, Parks has agreed to come up with some sort of design for the roundabouts. It would be a lot easier for us if we had some idea of a dollar amount that we can spend. I mean, because, it's kind of like you go shopping for a car, you have a budget. So,
yeah,
I mean, if you tell us it's $1,000, then we at least know what our number is to work with.
well, I donated $10,000 for signs. Maybe somebody else can donate some money for the signs in the roundabouts. Maybe go out to the public and look for some people.
Well, it was a consensus of the council last time that the park board would design it, but we were never given a budget to work with. So we need direction on that part of it. So something's gotta be, I don't know if the money will come
Are
from
we
the
gonna do both
EDA.
roundabouts?
No, the main one we're gonna concentrate on is the new one
New
on
one?
Broadway, up by 97. But the Broadway one, we're just gonna let that go for now, but the main part right now is the new one.
You don't think we
Because
can
we got
find
water in
people
there.
to donate?
Who has time?
Start a campaign? I don't know. I don't think, Elizabeth, we have money in the budget anywhere for that?
My recommendation, when Jim asked me, was that we would, was $10,000, and that we would find the money for it.
Your donations?
We could try through donations, but,
The question came up on the existing roundabout was to whether or not the landscape guy Palumbo could contribute to that. And then it got down to, well, could he, say provided by or donated by? And we decided, I think we decided no on that. What was it?
Well,
What was I forgot what.
talked to the guy several
consensus.
times, and he was interested in doing it, but you guys said no, and then he's also worried about people driving over the top, which they have been doing, but lately I don't believe.
Yeah, they just,
Goes in spurts.
just did it again.
Did they?
Oh, yeah.
Right over the top.
Some of the big trucks going right over the top.
Well, I'd like to see some donations to get that done. I mean, we've donated many things to the city and got things done. So, I mean, I'd like to see an attempt. But maybe the next council will throw the money at it, I don't know. But I think 10,000 is a good number to look at. And I agree with Elizabeth that if you can get it done in the $10,000 range would be probably sufficient.
A sign?
Well, it'd be more than a sign. I think you're talking plantings and you're talking some obstacle, right? Whether it's concrete with,
I mean, potentially something, but, I mean, I guess what the thought process is you can go in there and you can start planning and you can get elaborate, but
Of course, the upkeep is what we need to look at.
well, you gotta have the initial cost and then the upkeep cost. But I think you should come back with a, with a 5,000, a 10,000 and a $20,000 idea.
I don't think you get much done for 10 grand.
I don't know,
You get a concrete Columbus sign in there, you think you can get that done for 10 grand? It costs
probably.
10 grand to do the signs, the for sale.
Statue of Venus or something in the middle, I don't know.
Water feature?
A water feature.
That would-
we got
Well, they
water
got the
there.
electric,
We do have water
the
to pump.
electric's there.
The electric and water is there.
Oh, the water's there
We could
too?
put like a fountain, like,
Color,
and some colored LED lights that change.
yes.
Good idea. Maybe we could put our Columbus reader board in there. What are you thinking? Good idea? Richard thinks it's a great idea.
Save the money. Just leave it grass.
Leave it grass.
Leave it grass.
Good.
So I think the direction would be looking, just a couple options in that area,
Okay,
between $5,000 and $20,000,
okay.
somewhere in there.
All right, that's all I got.
Okay, that's it?
That's it.
Okay,
Dave,
made it through the first snowplow? Denny,
I have one more thing I forgot. The
Oh.
Columbus,
sorry.
I want to say it.
All right.
The Columbus sign, the Columbus name is on the new bridge.
Yeah,
You have to really look for it.
yeah, well, it's gonna be painted, though.
Yeah, it's going to be highlighted, but it
Yeah.
is, I was wondering, they may have forgot to put it up, so I checked it this morning. It says Columbus on it.
Is it?
Nice.
Good.
You have to look close to get it, but like, once you get it detailed, you'll be standing.
Oh, yeah, and then you're, coming from the freeway,
Right, yeah.
it'll
Is that
pop.
gonna be both directions?
Yep,
Yes.
both directions, and hopefully it'll be on our wayfinding signs too. Right?
And the
No, on like,
trees on the side.
well, right, but no, I'm hoping we're gonna get it in the like 97 Columbus exit.
Oh, okay. Oh,
That's what I talked to them about, so. All right, that's it, Denny?
That's it. Sorry.
Awesome. Okay,
Came to me when it said sign, it clicked,
click. We fought for that, we paid, how much we pay for that, 10 grand?
Not quite that much.
5,000?
I don't know. It was worth it.
Elizabeth, that was like 5 grand, right? To get that embedded concrete?
Oh, it was in that range.
5 to 10. Okay, Public Information Coordinator report.
I have a couple events to bring to your attention. Tomorrow night, the Rice Creek Watershed District is having a public open house for their 10-year watershed management plan. It's at the Ramsey County Library in Shoreview from 5 to 8 p.m., so if anybody's interested in that topic. In addition, somebody mentioned it briefly that the bridge will be dropped this weekend, so the Highway 97 will be closed starting Friday evening at 7, and it will reopen Monday morning at 5 a.m.
Oh, yeah, I forgot something also. Running Aces is having an open house,
Tomorrow.
groundbreaking tomorrow, 10
Yeah.
o'clock for their motel.
Right. Okay, anything else?
That's it.
Okay. City Administrator's report.
I have three things on my report. I know that we talked about December calendar meeting, and it appears from everything that our city staff has talked about, that we will have a second meeting in December. And looking at the dates, my recommendation is perhaps maybe we should move the meeting from Wednesday to Thursday. It allows at least staff to be in the office one day to kind of catch up on things, because the office will be closed on Monday and Tuesday. However, if you want to keep to the schedule, then we'll just make plans to make sure that all is good on Wednesday, the 27th. I'm
It's up
sorry,
to you guys.
Wednesday, the 26th.
Right.
No, I'm good with it.
26th, 27th 's fine?
Move it to the
Are you
27th.
guys, all right for you guys?
The 27th?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, that'll be fine.
We received a letter.
You need that by motion?
Yes.
What do you think?
could.
Someone want to make a motion to make it on the 27th?
So moved.
Second. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Ayes have it.
We received a letter, and I think all of you received a letter from Anoka County indicating that Steve Wagaman is up, or his seat is up for reappointment for Rice Creek Watershed District. And in addition, we received a letter from Blaine, and Blaine has one person that they would like to put up as an appointee. And the rule is, unless there are 3 appointees, the county can pick anyone for that seat. And so Blaine is asked us if we had 2 others, because you can combine cities, and cities can go in together to make up a list of 3. We did contact Steve Wagaman today, and he is interested in being reappointed. And he said he would get us a letter requesting reappointment. I haven't received it, but we talked to him today, and he said he would. That would be one person. Blaine has one person, so we would still be short of a list to choose from. But at the very least, we can certainly send a letter indicating.
How long do we have?
Until Friday, the 16th.
Jessica could put that on the website, or? Never know. You have a way to blast that out somehow?
Social media.
You go,
So
girl.
you've indicated that if someone wants to be, you would
Yeah,
allow us
otherwise the county points them, why wouldn't we?
to put them on the list?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone here want it? Don't see any hands, damn it.
So, let me get this right. So you would like to put a person on the list and join with Blaine?
Yes.
If we can get a third, that's your direction?
Yes.
Okay.
Good,
Or
right?
they could have
You
a
guys
third.
agree?
Blaine could have a third person also?
Sure.
Blaine asked us for appointees
Oh,
because
they're
they don't
short.
have,
Oh, bigger we are.
they don't have a third.
You wouldn't believe what she can do with social media.
Find out.
Okay. All right, anything else?
So the last thing is, I have a human resources report in your agenda packet. The two items on it is the 2019 health benefit. The city has been involved with the Public Employees Insurance Program for quite some time. The group application was approved tonight, and in that we have open enrollment in the month of November. They've moved it from December to November. And in that, we looked at the budget this summer, and we looked at an allocation that would be effective January 1st. And looking at open enrollment, employees have asked me what I thought the health premium allocation would be for each one of them. So my recommendation, based on premiums at this time, is increasing it from $783 to $830 per employee who are eligible for health benefits, and then prorated for those who work less than 40 hours a week. In order to get health benefits, you have to work
32.
32 and a half hours, because it's 30 hours worked is the criteria.
Okay, someone want to make a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second. Okay, further discussion? Anyone? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay,
Secondly, we have 2 employees in October. One was 2 years, I believe, and the other one was 6 months. So they're eligible for step increases. The first is our new accountant, which is deputy treasurer, which is William Warner. And based on his motion for employment, we said that we would look at performance in 6 months and decide whether or not to recommend for a step increase. Based on performance, I am recommending a step increase from step 1 to step 2 for Bill Warner. And in addition to that, Jesse Hughes is eligible for a step increase, which would be a yearly annual increase. And I'm recommending the step increase from step 3 to step 4. The wage scales are in the memo before you.
Okay. Any questions? I'd entertain a motion to adopt the step increases.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Ayes have it. Okay,
I have nothing further.
nothing further. All right, planning commission report is on Monday, the 19th, not on Wednesday.
Correct, and we do have a rather large application. That is the Howard Lake Development is the developer, but it's the Howard Lake Sanctuary plat, which is 26 senior homes. And that's the plat that we have the settlement agreement with the
The
DNR.
DNR, yep.
And so it's coming back through, and there's 4 applications that will be wrapped up that night.
Okay, so, don't be late. Calendar of meetings on page 20, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Adjourn.
Hey, Jim?